Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today on Collection Lessons, I want to talk about Respec. It's part of my Collection Lessons series. I think it's in Charles and I think advice. And I know it's Saturday, but I got this one coming out because I missed Friday yesterday. So hope you guys are doing well. Today on Collection Lessons, I want to talk about Respec. And it's kind of a terminology that if you're a video game player, usually there's some sort of, if you're playing like a role-playing game or even not a role-playing game, sometimes there's a mode that either you can do a new game plus where you play the same game except for you have all the stuff and the knowledge that you had the previous game, but you replay the whole game and then you continue on. Um, and then things scale and you have all the weapons and skills usually that you had in the first game. You just kind of carry on. It's a way to replay the game, right? Or in some role-playing games, you'll have attributes. So an attribute, something like I don't know, strength, right? And maybe some like vigor or something, right? Like health, and maybe you'll have like dexterity, that type of stuff, and intelligence. You'll have attributes, right? And then usually there's someone or something you have to do in the game to in order to, rearrange these points. If you had 20 in here and you had 30 in here and you had 20 in here and you had 10 in here, and it's like, well, I want to play as like a mage or somebody who's really good at bows usually is dexterity, whereas the mage is like intelligence. So what you do is you go to this character or whoever, and they default you back to, let's say, 10 10 10 10, and then they give you 40 points to rearrange whatever you want to put that in. So you could put them all in intelligence, right? You could put maybe 20 in intelligence, and then you could add maybe some to, I don't know, dexterity, another 20, right? And then you just keep these 10 and 10. So it's a way to reallocate, right? It's a way to respec. And where this kind of applies to life in a sense is if you think of your life as a role-playing game, right? If you think this is your timeline, start to finish, you're around, let's say, 20. And around that 20 year or 20 age mark, it's where you kind of like even 18 and maybe even 16, even a little bit sooner. But like somewhere around this time zone is where you need to figure out what kind of person and what you want to do for money that you're going to be. And that's the kind of the thing that kind of sucks. Is like in a video game, if you get to the end of your life, you go to new game plus, right? And then you start back over at the beginning of the life or the character, whatever. But like we don't know what kind of, well, yeah, I don't think we know. There's a movie called The Discovery where I was just watching and talked about this. We don't know what the afterlife looks like if because there's theories that maybe you get born into a new a new game plus. I like kind of hearing those theories and everything where it's like if you have flashbacks, it's actually from a previous life, or if you feel like something is deja vu, it's from another timeline or a lifetime or whichever. Those are kind of cool things to get into. But basically, we're not sure what happens near the end. But people will focus on something. And it's not a bad thing. Let's say, like, for me, I picked computers. I wanted to do something in the computer field. Back when I was like 10, I wanted to be like a game developer or a game tester because I thought that'd be the coolest job in the world and you get paid to do that. That sounds like fun. So I was thinking of that, and then it's like, well, where I live, there's no real game studios. I think there's maybe one or two in my city. And there's not really any good testing, and testing gets paid like minimum wage. So I went into more computery stuff, more computer programming, networking, systems, that type of stuff, right? But as I was going through it, and I start realizing that the point of a job is to retire, and I was like, well, I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to continue my career, let's say, in IT. So around this, 16, 20-year mark, I went to school for IT, and an IT kind of like progression usually looks something like this, we'll say. So at the start, you're like usually help desk. You take the calls, you do the crappy stuff, you do like, you reset passwords, you fix computer problems, whatever. Then usually you get into some sort of computer tech, which is like a little bit more advanced than help desk stuff, where you're actually like programming stuff on a computer, or you're setting up, windows and making profiles, and so it's a little bit more in depth than just a help desk. Then after that, then you kind of go into some sort of like device management, I'll say. We'll call it DM, where it's like you manage, let's say 300 computers, right? The scope of your job increases. And usually the scope of your job, let's say this is like I don't know, a bar, and this is like your scope, and we'll maybe make some more bars here, and some more bars here, and some more bars here. It's like, this is the wages, but the amount of work as you go up just increases exponentially. So it's like, when you do 2x times the work, oh, that was a cool 2x, you don't get paid 2x, unfortunately, right? That's just how a job is. But as I was going through IT, help desk tech, device type management, systems is in here, and networking is kind of where I am right now. It's like, do I want to continue on this career path? And for me, it's like, I was going the way that I was learning how to go, and if I continue past pretty much the next step here, either I get into management, which I don't really care for, or I have to travel, which I don't really care for. So it's like, that's where I'm like, I'm at the very kind of like, there's only like one more step here, but of course it's 2x the responsibility, and like, I think 5% more pay. And it's like, for me, that's not worth it. So I'm like, I'm done here, right? This is where I am right now. I'm good here. But the point is like, I don't want to go any further in my IT career. Now I'm focused more on like business stuff, more on the money, because like, I'm realizing as I'm, 30 some, it's like, this is all great for a career and such, but like, I want to spend time with my family. I want to enjoy life. I want to stay at home, like, I want to do other things. And going past this big bar doesn't get me that. It gets me further. It might be more money. However, it's less time I get to spend with my kids and my family. And that's where this whole respec idea comes into play. It's like, I maxed out, let's say, instead of intelligence, we'll just call it like IT. I maxed out in IT, and if I go any further, it's not really worth it, and other areas are going to suffer in my life. Might not be strength, vigor, dexterity, might be more like family, right? If we think of like some sort of like something like this, we're going to call it like the fam, and then it's like time, and it's like enjoyment, let's say, or, fun or whatever. And then it's like IT. It's like I'm maxed out in IT. I don't need any more, because all these areas are going to suffer if I put more points into IT. I only got so many points. So like, here I am like at 32, 33, something like that. And it's like, I'm going to respec my character. I'm going to respec myself. So this is where, people either change careers, change jobs, they go in a certain direction. Maybe they start multiple careers, multiple jobs, right? Some people get in a loop and they respec every few years, right? Like, I don't know, some people go to school and then 5 years later they change what they're doing and they go to school again. And then they max out where they are at their job, like here, and then they respec and then they go to school again or do whatever. I don't go to school anymore. I don't want to go to school anymore. I don't want to do it ever again. I want to do businessy things. I want to go where places are not, time equals dollars. I want to go to places where they're like, time does not equal dollars, and it can grow exponentially rather than a one-to-one in a graph scenario. That's where I kind of want to go. And it's like, once I learn that, I'm good, right? I'm done here, and I want to do what I'm doing right now until I retire. And I'm going to respec my life, in a sense, into more things. I'm going to take out the IT if I can. Once, I make more income outside of my job than my job makes me. The whole idea is to get rid of this IT points. Let's say there's 50 points in here. Get rid of that because I don't need it anymore, and put it more into enjoyment, into time, into family. And then also, like, another video that I'm coming out with is Legacy coming out. Holy crap. Into Legacy. Creating something that's going to create even more wealth and such in the family in the future that I can pass down generations, is the idea. So that's where, when I talk about respec, think about where you are. I think about where I am in my life. And it's like, when do I respec? You know, that's kind of like where midlife crisis type things happen to people, is when they max out an area, you know, whatever that may be, or they max out their career, and then they're like, well, this isn't giving me the results that I've been told I've been supposed to get based on people ahead of me. And that's where, for me, respecking is just like what I'm saying. Like, I want to get out of the job as quick as possible to reallocate my mind, my resources of my, you know, what I know of IT into other areas, and not do it. You know, if I want to do IT stuff, I can do it for fun. I don't have to do it for money. That's where I'm kind of going with that. So that's what I want to share with this video is Respec. It's quite cool. If you think of your life as an RPG or like a role-playing game, and you're the character and you have one life, this character, you know, and you can respec at any time in this life. What choices, what attributes do you want to put your points into? Where do you want that area to grow? Because whatever you put your points into, that's going to be where you grow the most, right? If I put all my points into family, I I believe that, you know, you'd have a good family. You know, you'd have a good relationship with them. If you put all that into time, then it's like you got more time than anybody else. And that's kind of where I want to go, is I want to have more time, more family, more relationships, more enjoyment, more legacy, and I don't want to be, you know, stressed out at work for 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day or whatever, and then, you know, get frustrated because I'm working on a hard program that, you know, nobody in my family understands, just because, you know, it's the IT knowledge that I have. And it's like people get stressed out at their job, you know, and it just kind of sucks. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I know this came out on Saturday. I was supposed to schedule for yesterday, and something happened, and I wasn't able to get this video out. So that's what I want to talk about Respec. And yeah, I don't think there's anything more to say than that. Thanks, and talk soon.